is my first time at the conference. I decided to attend because I was really excited about the intersection of data and policy and making sure that we're not in a mode of just collecting data or demanding more of it, but that we're actually putting it to use in policy and decision making that's going to improve people's lives.
This community was really looking for a forum of discussion, and I'm not aware of another conference which would bring this type of mix of people together in such a good way.
I hadn't expected it to be so international and looking at such a large scope. So that to me is very interesting.
The conference for me brings together several different groups, which is absolutely critical need to meet and talk and move forward together. So it's absolutely fabulous to see that.
Conferences like these are absolutely vital to get together those who are working in what is currently quite a niche area to share best practice, to figure out what doesn't work so that we can accelerate the pace of change, so that more organisations can try the stuff that works.
At a conference like this, what I love is that a professor from Imperial College or the head of a unit in the European Commission will sit down and take a question from an 18-year-old and take it just as seriously as if it was asked by a peer. That's great, that's unusual.
Most of the other conferences in the data science area are very technical. So there's Earl next week, which everybody else in my team is going to, but this is the only place where you meet policymakers as well. And that cross-fertilisation between the two is very important. You know, we've had an MP here as well, so it's very clear that this is important for policy people.
I find it exciting, stimulating and very optimistic that we've managed to bring so many people together. Delighted that the conference started its life in Cambridge. It's obviously grown hugely and I think it will go from strength to strength.
Anthony Finkelstein, who's the Chief Science Advisor for government in the UK for security, has hosted us here for free. That's pretty strong evidence that the government, was paying attention. And so I think our goal is kind of starting to succeed.
We've traditionally walled off data and policy into two separate areas. And what this conference is doing is it's rightfully, especially in the age of the fourth industrial revolution driven by data, bringing them together.
We're still rather far from the point where government and policy making has kind of capitalised on the potential of new sources of data. So conferences like this help people get together and talk about the possibilities, possible innovations, and that's a valuable thing.
This is clearly an emerging field, and we already heard several this morning indicating that there is an eagerness to start using private data for a variety of purposes. But given the fact that it is an emerging field, there are also many questions that are yet to be answered.
You need to create a culture where it's unacceptable not to use data or not to be informed with the data when making major decisions or trying to reform public services. I think too few public sector leaders have got that message so far.
Government is in an ideal position to actually provide policy, provide vision, drive this, but it also has to clear up the problems.
One of the important things for data science, particularly as it's quite new in government, is to show that it can have an impact on not just in developing policy, but the policy itself, once it's rolled out, has a positive impact on people's lives.
The policy world operates in a world of problems and challenges that it's trying to solve, and the data community tends to operate in a world of clarity and certainty, and it's often very difficult to bridge those worlds.
The new types of data that we have and the new types of data methods to analyze the data has radically changed, and so we need moments in time where we can reflect and share what has happened, what works, what does not work.
People have to get out of their bunkers with their data and start helping other people who are trying to frame the data to understand what are the inherent weaknesses or biases.
These are not 1 hour, 2 hour conversations. These are the conversations of our time.
It's excellent to exchange ideas and practices and to learn what works and what doesn't work especially.
It's a crash course in data science and data for policy.